All right. Hi, everybody. This is Leona Filis. I am here at the Radio DeBong show. Oh, and I am here with two lovely ladies today. We have Miss Cynthia Allen and Miss Chris Noble. Hi, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
We are missing Mrs. Thelma Scott.
Yes.
She's already called me a couple of times this morning and everybody else.
Yes, I've heard from her.
Yes, so she can call in later. And so can you at 713-974-4000. And we are going to start off this day with Chris Noble. She is with the Rose. Take it away.
All righty. I am getting pretty tired of October events, but I'm going to be strong for this one because I got a message. Some of you may know that Kim Roxy is my daughter by choice, and by getting Kim, I got a handsome son-in-law and then a granddaughter. So my granddaughter's 6 going on 46, and so her new phrase was, I got the good news and I got bad news. What do you want first? So Kim says, I don't know where she got that. So she says, okay, I want the bad news first. Well, Mom, the bad news is Disney on Ice is not in Houston anymore. That was bad news.
That is bad news.
That was bad news.
That is bad news.
But the good news is they're in Baton Rouge. So that's where they went and saw the Disney. But I've been on this good news, bad news kick because of my grandchild. And so I got some bad news and I got some good news. I'm going to start with the bad news because most people want to start with the bad news because I got a whole lot more good news than I got bad news.
Good.
The bad news really is too many women and men are being diagnosed with late-stage breast cancer. Sometimes we can't do anything about the early stage breast cancer, but we can look for it in a screening mammogram. So that's just what I want to talk about a little this morning, is that mammograms really do save lives and make a difference. Back in the 2D era, when you had a 2D mammogram, you got it was a picture like a negative or like an X-ray. It was one film. And the radiologist looked at that film and compared it to last year, and maybe he called you back in for an ultrasound looking for differences in those two. And a lot of cancers were missed. So now, with the good news, we have 3D mammography. And that machine takes pictures in slices, much like a loaf of bread. So you look at the loaf of bread and you have 20 or 30 slices of bread, but now that radiologist can see inside those layers of the bread or of your breast. And so detection is much easier. Actually, the mammogram itself is a little bit easier. They don't have to squish quite as much.
I was about to ask, is it still like the stainless steel, freezing cold, slamming?
No.
And it hurts.
It's uncomfortable.
Yes.
Your breast is on a piece of clear plexiglass, and another piece of clear plexiglass comes down and basically squeezes your breast because it has to hold it. With 3D mammography, we don't have to squeeze as much. We still have to do it.
All right.
But the new thing is, they're always making new advances. There's a new top piece. It's called a something curve. Something curve.
I'll go with
but
that.
instead of it being flat, it's curved. So when it gets to your breast, it doesn't have to flatten you like a pancake. It does squeeze you a little bit. And so it's better. Now I always have an issue on the left side. It always hurts. So I'm giving everybody listening to me the permission to do exactly what I do. In my most dramatic voice possible, I say, ow! And it's over.
Yes.
I guarantee it's over. So the advances of 3D, and now this, I think it's called smart curves, the smart curve, that's the good news. And the really, really, really good news is we can now diagnose you at stage 0 and stage 1, which are 100% curable and rarely even need chemo or radiation.
Okay, what is stage 0?
It's, the stages were 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
Or stage 0 is so tiny that it is only seen in a screening mammogram because it's so tiny. But that radiologist, because he can now look in between things instead of flat, he can find that small nugget. These stage 0 and stage 1, you don't feel, you don't see. So you don't know you have it.
Oh, okay.
Chris, I want to ask you a question too. I know someone that recently went for a mammogram and it came out perfectly, but they detected something else. And it was a lymph node under the arm.
Yes.
And it turned out to be lymphoma, but it was in the early. Had they not gotten the mammogram, they never would have picked up on it. So now, and this just recently happened.
Because of the newer technology.
Oh my gosh.
Those of you that have had that mammogram, that's the worst part, is the one where they got to get you underneath your arm, because you got to almost stand on your head. You know? But that would have never happened if they didn't.
You're
they weren't
absolutely
doing
right,
that.
because the person was not even aware, had no symptoms.
And the reason that they do the lymph nodes in many cases, if they detect cancer in the lymph nodes, it can be spread throughout your body. May not have been, but it could be. So sometimes when breast cancer is detected in the lymph nodes, you do have to have some sort of chemo or radiation, because they want to make sure they kill it all throughout your body. But stage 1 and stage 0, stage 1 are tiny. You can't see them, you can't feel them. So you have to go get that screening mammogram. And so you don't have health. Let's just say you're that lady who doesn't have health insurance. And there are a lot of those ladies right now who don't have health insurance.
That's right.
But more than likely, besides not having health insurance, or because you have no health insurance, you're not going to a doctor at all. So you're not getting any screenings done. You're not really doing anything. And over the 30 plus years, the Rose has been trying to remove any sort of barrier for women who need to get a mammogram. And one of them was the cost, and one of them is they don't have insurance and that sort of stuff. But another barrier that we started looking at was we would have anywhere from 15 to 2,000 women call us every year, no insurance, no doctor, so they could not get a mammogram without a doctor's prescription.
Wow.
So we would give them, because there's a lot of places where they can go, free clinics and those sorts of things. And we would give them a few of those places close to where they live.
Okay.
But we never heard from them again. So we knew we were losing those women every year. So now, and it's more than a year, I can't believe it's maybe even close to 2 years, we now have a nurse practitioner on our staff.
Oh.
And her program that she oversees is Mammogram to Medical Home. So you have no doctor. You need a mammogram. If you qualify, because there are some qualifications, it's not free. But if you qualify, you come in, she gives you an exam, she gives you the prescription, and you go to the Rose and you get your mammogram, and she introduces you to your physician. She gets a physician who has agreed to be your doctor.
Wow. That was
So
going
it's
to be my next question.
Yes. So
Okay.
yes, because one of the things that makes the Rose different is we have to have somewhere to send that diagnosed women. We just don't mammogram women and say, "Oh, okay, you got cancer, bye." Our mission is to get her to treatment. It's not just the mammogram; it's to get her the treatment. So anyway, the Mammogram to Medical Home is just so cool, and you can look it up on our online.
Wow.
It's very.
I think we have a caller.
Yeah, I think we have a caller.
Could you get the caller on the phone, on the air? Wow. Okay, so I want to hear a little bit more about that part. Yes, who's our caller?
Yes, y'all have a caller on today.
How may we help you?
Yes, ma'am. Y'all have the founder and the co-host on the founder and the host on the show today. How y'all doing?
Excellent.
Y'all doing excellent. All right. I'm just calling, checking in on my co-host. Look, I got 3 co-hosts today. Everything good?
Yep, we're here.
Well, I just wanted to let you guys know I'm here at Spring ISD Education Foundation Golf Tournament, and we're having a blast over here, but I miss you guys.
I miss you. We miss
Yeah,
seeing
We
you.
miss you too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Enjoy the
Okay.
golf
One thing-
tournament.
It may be a wet tournament.
Yeah.
I've heard you right.
I wanted to say hello to my DJ. Can I see him on the screen, please? Where's the DJ?
He's
Hang
here,
on,
he's
he's
here.
come-
Mr. Tari Khan. Come on around there, Tari, if I can see you.
Hey, Miss
There
Scott.
he is.
She wanted to see me on the screen.
Yeah, yeah.
Tari, I need to see you, Tari.
Yes,
Hello,
ma'am. Right
Tari.
here. There's probably a
How you
delay,
doing?
so.
Are you taking care of my co-host today?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I want you to treat him good now, okay?
Absolutely. Always try my best.
All right. Well, you take care. Okay. Attorney Phyllis, Miss Chris Nova, Dr. Cynthia Alex. Thank you guys so much for carrying on for me today. So I just wanted to call in and let you guys know.
You thinking
And I know
about
you
us.
guys gonna do it. I know you guys gonna do a wonderful job today in my absence.
There
Okay.
you go. Yeah, we might cut up a
All
little
right.
bit because we don't have you here.
Well, okay, Chris. Oh, y'all can just take it away. I'm gonna let you guys go.
Okay,
I'm gonna listen for a
bye.
little bit, but I gotta get back to the tournament.
Okay.
And I have one of my friends here with me, and she's gonna say something. She's from Spring ISD.
I bring you greetings from Spring ISD. I work and represent the Family and Community Engagement Department, where we put on events for our scholars and the community. So, hello, ladies.
Hello.
Doing great work.
Great work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great work. Okay, yeah, we all work together. It's like this. We are better and stronger when we come together.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm so honored to have her. All righty?
Uh-huh.
Y'all take care.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, Mrs. Scott.
Bye, Mrs. Scott.
I love Mrs. Scott. I say if I ever come back, if God lets me come back a second time, I want to be a feisty black woman named Thelma Scott. Because she's just the best.
I asked her, when does she ever
Oh.
rest?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how she
Yeah,
does
I
all
don't
that she
either.
does.
I don't know.
And she'll call you at the last minute on the spot.
Well, I get the 911.
She does that all the time.
911.
She'll call me at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning.
Uh-oh.
I need you to go so and so. I need you to do this.
And you just say, yes, Miss Scott.
I might as well, because I'm not going to win the
You're not gonna
argument.
win, no. She does great stuff, though. She
Yes.
does great stuff. I'm blessed.
Could you pick back up on what you were talking
On
about with
mammogram to medical
yes,
home?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. You don't have health. Let me back up. I didn't get it. I sort of thought I got it. That you don't have insurance and you don't want to go to get your mammogram because you don't want to know you have breast cancer because you can't fix it. I could never really wrap my head around how do you think that way? And then COVID hit. And it was 2021, I'm sure. It wasn't 2020. And I was feeling kind of yucky, and I had this drainage and this and that. And I called my doctor, and she says, just get some Mucinex. You'll probably be okay. So I got the Mucinex. I was not okay. Called her back. She said, well, maybe you should go get a COVID test. So I got off the phone with her, and I'm sitting on my couch. Well, I'm not going to go get a COVID test, because if I have COVID, I got to do this, I got to do that. Oh, my God, I can't do Yeah, which is probably what... Now I got it. It was like I got it. It's probably what I mean, and I probably do that in other things as well. But because you're denying it, and finally after my rant to myself because no one else was there, I said, okay, Chris, suck it up and be an adult. So I went and got the test, took the test. I was negative, but I did. I spent 10 minutes. I'm not going to go do that. I can't. What if I have it? And so I get that, but. I guess what I want to say to those ladies that are just afraid and they're just, you're going to come to us sooner or later, and it's going to be stage 3 or 4. Let's get it early. Let's take care of this. And Houston, Texas has the Rose. The Rose has that medical to mammogram program. Like I said, you do have to qualify, and the first threshold is financial because the dollars are our dollars, and we want to take care of those who really need the care. Because we have had women come to us wanting that mammogram who don't qualify in any way, shape, or form. They just want to not get one that's free. So there is a financial threshold, but we work. I mean, if some of it is tax return. Some people don't have that. Some it's bank statement. We ask for bank statement. Some don't have that. We will take letters from somebody who you take care of their kids and clean their house. We just have to have documentation that your income is at this level to put in your file. We're not going to go investigate it any more than what we're doing. We're not going to hire investigators to go out, but we have to do that. We have to play by the rules or we won't get the money.
Right.
The other people will get the money to play by the rules. So the you can go online to therose.org. You'll see a button somewhere for mammogram to medical home. Click on that. You can make an appointment. She's a lovely woman, and I think you'll be treated just like you're always treated at the Rose. I've been at the Rose this is my 10th October, and I've been getting my mammogram done at the Rose for 25 years.
Now, I had a question for someone who has insurance. If they get their mammogram at the Rose, then what's
How does that all
happens?
work? Yeah.
So
I mean, basically, we're a nonprofit. So when you have insurance and you come to the Rose, we don't make the money that we would make if we were a for-profit. We use to give a mammogram to an uninsured woman. So it's about 3 insured women. There's enough profit from that for us to give an uninsured woman
wow.
That's
a mammogram.
amazing.
But then if that uninsured woman is diagnosed with breast cancer, she's paired with a patient navigator. She goes through a lot of different stuff that costs money. So that's where the money and the fundraising and that sort of stuff kind of comes in play. On most years we do about 40,000 mammograms.
Wow.
6, 7, 8,000 to uninsured women. We diagnose maybe 400 women. A little more than half tend to be uninsured.
So these facilities that you send these women to, so do they actually treat them throughout the entire process?
Yes. There are funds available for women with uninsured women to have treatment. And what that patient navigator does is fill out all that paperwork, get all that done for her, explain her diagnosis to her family. That navigator is with her the day she finds out she has cancer and what her treatment protocol is going to be, explains her all of those things like a big sister or a mom. But and that goes through treatment and also through reconstruction if that's what the woman chooses to do to go through reconstruction. So it's very similar to what you'd probably get if you had health insurance. You could get those same things. So yeah, that's a great question, because what do you do if you don't have, you get diagnosed? You can also, if you don't necessarily qualify for our sponsored mammograms, our cash price for a 3D screening mammogram is $250. If you happen to be diagnosed, then there are some programs that we can get you in, even though you
Or
didn't
uninsured.
qualify. Uninsured,
So-
but made too much money.
So for those of you that have any questions, we have Chris Noble for a couple more minutes here at the
Yeah.
Embracing Diversity
Yeah.
radio show. You can call 713-974-4000. So if you're a lady that doesn't have insurance but makes too much money, private pay would be $250 for a 3D mammogram.
Correct.
That's
That's-
not
that's
bad.
one-
That's not
Screening.
bad.
Screening.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
I don't. Well, the screening mammogram is,
Just a general.
it's a general. I mean, they take those pictures just kind of one time. Doesn't include a ultrasound. Doesn't include. But a screening mammogram, they take more pictures, more views,
Okay.
and sometimes it includes the ultrasound and the biopsy. And I keep forgetting to ask that question, but I think it's more like $500 and $600. It's quite a bit more because it's more pictures and more.
But you
more
have that
stuff.
option.
You have that option.
Okay.
Or if you get diagnosed somewhere else and you don't have health insurance, but you've been diagnosed somewhere else, you can come to us, and if you qualify with us, we can help you just like you had your mammogram done at the Rose.
Oh, okay.
Can
Okay.
you talk a little bit about? I've heard something about a HER2. Is that what exactly is that?
There are like 19 different versions of breast cancer. Some women, bless their hearts, if they have it in both breasts, can sometimes have 2 different versions.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yes. How about that? I mean, who knew? So I can't exactly tell you what that means, the HER2.
I've heard of
And you've
that.
probably heard of triple negative.
Yes.
And triple
yes.
negative. I don't know the medical terminology for the triple negative, but I do know that whatever test they give, you're negative, so they can't give you a certain kind of medication to get rid of it. And that's probably the same with the HER2. It doesn't react to the normal chemo and radiation that women get. Because there's 19 different versions.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I did not know
Yeah.
that.
I didn't know that either.
I didn't know that either until about 10 years ago. There are a lot of stuff I didn't know. But yeah. And I get compliments all the time about the Rose and how I went. And they took me right in. I was maybe there 35, 45 minutes. I was in and I was out. The mammogram, you hear how it hurts. And it was uncomfortable. It didn't really hurt. And when I speak, I tell women, I said, you go to the doctor and they want to do a blood draw.
Yeah.
And someday
Yeah.
you get that girl, she sticks you once.
Yeah.
Someday you get that girl that's got to stick you 2 or 3 times and dig for it. It's a level of skill.
That's right.
Our ladies have a level of skill. They're sizing you height-wise, breast-wise as you're walking in, as they're calming you down,
Yes.
because they know they get them too.
Uh-huh.
And so they're doing everything they can do. And I told them, if you're afraid, tell her that. Tell her I'm scared. This is my first, or whatever. Talk to her. She's just another woman just like you. And if you need me to meet you there and go with you, I have gone with many a woman over the last 10 years. I stand outside and I go, "You're not doing anything to hurt my girl, are you?" And I just hear the chuckles out there. So if you need a big sister to go with you, got me. Just let me know.
thank you,
Chris at the Rose. No, I'm actually cnoble@therose.org.
Nice.
Wow.
Very
I've
nice.
done that more than once.
A little pain. Sometimes it's worth it, though.
Not very long.
I joke
That's right.
because they have you.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Like I said, you almost feel like maybe if I got on my head,
Like
you
you're
could do this.
exercising. Huh?
Yeah. And for me, that's the worst part. But and I said, don't look down.
Oh.
Don't look when they're giving you the shot or you're drawing the blood.
Right.
And don't look down when you're getting the mammogram.
Well, it's
You know-
almost like having a baby, I say.
Oh.
Once you have the baby, you forget about the pain. So-
What did I hear? I heard
That's true.
on some movie show recently that it was showing a baby
Yeah.
being born, and the doctor said, "Do not look down here. You do not want to look down here."
But when you see that baby,
That's all you care about.
You-
Yeah,
you
don't
don't-
look down
the
here.
pain
So
is
just
gone.
don't look down here. I promise you, it'll be over quick. I promise you.
Well, thank you so much, Chris.
You got it.
We- You've helped so much with safe diversity communities and
Yep, I'm blessed. I met Miss Scott through my daughter by choice, Miss Kim Roxy, and we've been rolling along together ever since, supporting
years
each other's
and
events.
years.
So
Yes.
yeah,
So thank you so
you're
much.
welcome.
that's
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris,
Gotcha.
for all
Now
that
listen-
valuable information.
Listen to us in the car at 99.5 FM.
There you go.
Radio Dabong.
There you go. We got
But
it.
we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks.
Radio The Bung, 99.5 FM. Be The Bung.
Vote to keep Justice April Ferris for First Court of Appeals, covering Harris and Fort Bend counties. April Ferris graduated from Harvard Law School with honors, was a successful partner at a national appellate boutique, is a mom who cares about keeping our communities safe, and is the only candidate for this office endorsed by the Houston Police Officers Union. Justice is on the ballot. Smart judges make safe communities. Let's keep Justice April Ferris on the First Court of Appeals. Political ad paid for by the Justice April Ferris campaign.
Value is for big dreams and little ones. It's for your friends, your family, and your future. At Discount Power, we believe in the power of value. We know you do too. It's why our electricity plans are made to fit your budget and your life. We want to help you spend more time and money on what matters to you, because that's what matters to us. Discount Power, helping you save on electricity. Visit discountpowertx.com and sign up today. PUCT number 10177.
Design, create culture. Culture shapes values. Be bold with your designs. Be bold. Designer Furniture Store. High-end Italian leather furniture. Contemporary style. Elegant detail. Classy furniture for your classy lifestyle. Financing also available. Be Bold Furniture is located on 8280 West Park Drive, Houston. They're open from Monday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Sunday from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. For information, call 832-767-3057. Be bold.
ये सब तुम्हारा करम है आका.
Horizon Travel, one of the biggest consolidators of all major airlines, Emirates, Qatar, Turkish Airline. आप उम्रा और हज की नियत कीजिए, बाकी तमाम सफ़र करने की प्लानिंग Horizon Travel पर छोड़ दीजिए. Horizon Travel, servicing customers for many years. कराची, लाहौर, इस्लामाबाद, मुंबई, दिल्ली, हैदराबाद के लिए स्पेशल डिस्काउंटेड फेयर्स अनाउंस हो चुके हैं. Call Zahir or any of their travel agents. 713-978-7202. 713-978-7202. Horizon Travel.
ये सब तुम्हारा करम है आका.
In the heart of Sugarland, Texas, we present Indo-Pak, देसी खानों का बेहतरीन मरकज. Elite Indo-Pak Restaurant, जहां की स्टनिंग लोकेशन, खूबसूरत एम्बियंस और डिलिशियस फूड आपको अपने देश की याद दिलाने पर मजबूर कर देगा. बहुत सारी स्पेशल बफे डील्स, कस्टमाइज्ड इवेंट्स लाइक बिजनेस लंच, स्मॉल बर्थडेज, social and corporate events, family get-togethers, exclusive catering service with affordable rates. So what are you waiting for? Visit us at 11941 Highway 6 South, Sugarland, Texas 77498. For to-go order 281-957-4100 or visit www.eliteindopark.com.
जिंदगी में हादसा एक बार होता है पर हमेशा याद रहता है. एक्सीडेंट हो जाए तो कौन आपके बिल्स पे करेगा? आपको जरूरत है एक ऐसे अटॉर्नी की जो आपके साथ खड़ा रहे. जेम्स पर्किंस आपके हक के लिए इंश्योरेंस कंपनी से लड़ेगा. जेम्स पर्किंस आपके हक का पैसा आपको दिलवाएगा. जेम्स पर्किंस आपका केस जीतेगा तभी अपनी फीस लेगा. जेम्स पर्किंस 30 साल से पर्सनल इंजरी और एक्सीडेंट क्लेम केसेस जीत रहा है. अपने केस की फ्री असेसमेंट करवाएं. आपकी जबान में बात करें. अभी कॉल करें 713-781-0660. 713-781-0660.
You're listening to Radio Dabang, 99.5 FM, Houston's real Bollywood station. Be Dabang.
All right, we are back. It is Leona and Cynthia.
All right.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
And Mrs. Scott, when she calls in, if she calls in again, she'll come back on. But if you want to call us, it's 713-974-4000. We were just talking with Chris Noble with The Rose and learned something new. I have talked with her so many times.
But every time you talk to her, you'll always learn something new.
Yeah, so I am super happy. I'm going to have to
Always
look up
good
that.
to see Chris.
Stage 0. That's
I
helpful.
didn't even know there was a stage 0. I thought stage 1 was actually the lowest stage.
Right. So technology is advancing. That's good.
Contact the Rose and hey, stay on top of your yearly annuals.
Yes, that's when you're 35 or older. Yeah. So we have a lot of things to celebrate this month.
Yeah, this is actually Mental Health Month. So hey, we have a lot of stuff to touch on.
So much. So I went to one of these websites to see, what is the October Awareness Month? And so all these things popped out at me. There's a long list, but I picked just a few that are near and dear to me. My neighbor, Corey, has Down syndrome.
Oh.
He's in his mid to late 20s. He is verbal. I don't understand all the time when he's talking. His mom does, and his other family members do. He is a huge Astros fan.
Really?
And he should be, right? I asked him, I was like,
absolutely.
Were you watching last night
Now
till
that they're
11
getting
o'clock
ready to
at
go
night?
to the playoffs, I'm sure he's happy.
He's super happy. He's always wearing his bracelets that say Astros on it, the hat, the shirt.
Oh, he's really a
he
serious
is.
fan.
So thank you, Corey, for bringing good luck to the Astros. But Corey has Down syndrome, and a lot of his friends over at Down Syndrome Academy are big Astros fans. There are different types of or levels of Down syndrome.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
I know that some of them, but I find some of the people that I maybe kind of met through the years that had Down syndrome, I found them to be very smart people.
Yep. Some are verbal, some are not. Always happy. My neighbor is always happy. Corey. But it is Down Syndrome Awareness Month. Another one that I didn't realize this was a 20-year-old tradition. It's Dyslexia Awareness Month.
Now that's when you read things backwards, right?
The letters can appear to be backwards. Yes. There's difficulty with spelling, of course, I would think that, or reading out loud. So a lot of these things can impact a student who has dyslexia. So hopefully I know over the years students have had different programs given to them to help them with accommodations so that they can not have so many
But
problems.
I've often wondered, how do they actually diagnose that?
I have seen, and I don't know, but I mean, a lot of teachers, we leave this up for the really good teachers who will see these kids early on, at kindergarten, first grade. If they're writing their letters, they may write a letter backwards because they're seeing it backwards.
They're seeing it backwards. Okay.
But it takes a good teacher to catch that and then to try and get help for that child. So that's something to think about.
You'd be surprised at the people that are actually dyslexic. I used to work with a young artist that was dyslexic, but he was smart as a whipple.
Oh, yeah.
Just as smart. A lot of people don't know it, but Whoopi Goldberg, she's dyslexic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So there's
many.
a lot of people that you would be surprised.
So that's one of them. That's a hard one for me to spell. They said problems with spellings like dyslexia. Yeah, that one's a hard one for me to spell. Another awareness month, so this one I know very well, is National ADHD Awareness Month.
That's the one that they want to label the child bad. He just won't be still, or he won't stay focused. Is
Yes,
that
that
kind of
is
like
the
where they go?
one.
That's
Yes.
the one. Okay.
Jonathan. So Jonathan, my son is on the autism spectrum, but just to keep things fun and interesting, he also has ADHD. So we went through years of just focusing on the autism part, but a lot of kids on the spectrum have comorbidity with ADHD. So so there's the can't get him to focus. He will wander off. He will ignore, but then it's confusing, especially if you're a parent and you're watching how well they can focus on certain things that draws their attention. And then on other things, it's hard for them to focus. So, a lot of kids you can spot, or a teacher or parent can spot signs of ADHD as young as 3 years old.
Really?
So 3 to 7 is around that time when those symptoms start to manifest.
So that they're very active, won't be still. It's interesting.
And then it's interesting too because a lot of adults are getting diagnosed late in life. And they were those problem children that you were talking about, labeled to being bad or whatever. And turns out that they had a different brain chemistry.
So how do they get tested? What are the steps, and how do they go about getting tested? Do they go to, like with the kids, do they go to their pediatrician, or do the schools test them, or how do they find out that they have that?
So schools, there is the federal mandate where if you believe someone is has a disability, that they are supposed to address that and test for it. Usually it's through observation at the school level. And then if the education of that child is impacted by the disability, then accommodation should be put in place. So a lot of our students that have ADHD, they may not need a new curriculum given to them through special education, but they may get something called Section 504 accommodations, where maybe this child will do better in focusing if they're up at the front instead of sitting in the back of the class. Or maybe they do better if they not only hear the instructions from the teacher, but also see it. So they may have accommodations where they get the lesson plan written out for them as well, so they can follow along, and that will help them with their attention. So there's different.
So I can just really imagine that's got to be hard for the teachers that has like 29 and 30 kids in a class, and here you are trying to focus on a couple of kids that may possibly have that, and you only have a certain amount of time to teach. So why don't they just kind of like separate the ones that are like that, and where the class won't be as large?
So,
I mean, would that be isolation? I'm just...
Yeah, so there's been a lot of efforts throughout the years to not isolate people with disabilities.
But you're constantly calling the parent. I'm having a problem with this student today. He won't stay in his seat, or he's hitting other kids, or he's doing that.
Right.
He won't follow directions.
Right.
So what I was suggesting was maybe that the kids that are like that, I'm sure it's not just one or two. Why not have them in a special class where there's not as many kids?
So there are self-enclosed or enclosed classrooms for certain kids that are at, I think different districts call it different classes. Some of them call them Apple or life skills classes, where the children are in a self-contained classroom with a director of special education usually and multiple paraprofessionals, which will be maybe two to three students per para. So it's a smaller setting.
That's what I would
for
think would be
that.
better.
Yes.
Right.
As far as separating someone who doesn't have the cognitive issues that a child would have if they're in that type of classroom, well, that's why you work together with the team. So if it's special education services that are warranted, then you have what's called an IEP team. So you have the special education teacher, you have the parent, you have maybe if there's a general ed teacher, you have that person too. You also would have, let's say you have someone who is having problems in the educational setting, and they're in a general ed classroom, and they are not doing themselves any favors or any of the kids or the teachers. So then a review of their individualized education plan would be warranted, and they would have something called a BIP, behavior intervention plan. Okay, Johnny won't sit still. Johnny has had to be redirected 15 times. Well, then you contact the teacher will contact the general ed teacher would contact the special ed teacher and have a paraprofessional come in. And they would either, it depends on what's on their behavior intervention plan, but they may need to be with that child and get them refocused, or take them out for a sensory break, or take them out to their particular classroom that they have. It depends on what is best for that individual child, so that you can get the best results from that child.
Well, that's why I would suggest, because I know with one of my grandkids' schools, they steady call the parents all day long, and you're steady calling every week with the same issues and the same problems, which is taken away from time from the other students, and it's distracting in a sense.
It is distracting.
So that's why I was asking, couldn't they put them like in classes where someone would be more trained, more educated to deal with that type of child?
So what they'll do also is keep them in the special ed room. When that child is ready to go out into general ed, then it's called a LER, least restrictive environment. If they can handle general ed, and throughout the day or throughout that classroom, they'll try maybe with what they call a shadow, with having a paraprofessional with them. And this usually you see this in the elementary school age.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
If the child's ready to be included in the general ed classroom, then typically the first, I don't know how many years, it depends on the kid, of course, they'll have the paraprofessional with them.
Okay.
And so if they need a pull-out, then they need a pull-out. So it sounds like if it's a behavior issue that's causing these disruptions, then, yeah, the kid needs to be evaluated. It's a federal
what I would
mandate.
think. Okay. Good info.
Yeah, but, you know, different parents have different ways that they may try to deal with ADHD or ADD.
And I think some parents are not even aware that the kids even have it.
Right.
You know, they haven't had the child tested. They just know that the teachers are steady calling them, and a lot of them have jobs. And it's hard for them to get off from their jobs. They have to constantly keep going to the schools.
And if it does deal with, let's say the Mrs. Scott's calling my cell phone. If let's say you have to take off from work, and this deals with a lot of parents with children with special needs, you can take off and look and see if you taking off to go take care of your child who's having an issue at school because of their medical condition, then it's called Family Medical Leave Act. You can use some of your FMLA time with that.
But what I'm
and not be
speaking of when
penalized.
it constantly happens.
Well, then
You know, that's what I'm saying. It's not like this child is ill, but you're constantly being called about their behavior.
which is an illness. There's behavioral health, emotional health, mental health. So it's still
It's behavior. Oh, okay, mental.
so it's still mental health. So they still need to be maybe evaluated under the federal mandate called child fine to see if they're eligible for special education services.
Because that would make it a lot easier on the child too, especially if you knew what you were dealing with. Then you would know how to address that particular problem. But
Right.
when you don't know, you're constantly calling the parent, you're labeling the child as being disruptive, you're labeling the child as being bad. It's not that the child, it could be hormonal. It could be anything.
Yeah, and so having observant teachers, having parents that know the right questions to ask, maybe contacting a school advocate, so that an education advocate to see if maybe they can go in, observe your child in school, if it's not a HIPAA violation, and see if special education services are warranted.
Or either, I think they need to give the teachers, they've taken the teachers' aides out of the classrooms.
Oh.
I think they need to add, they need to have aides.
But you
It's
have
hard.
to hire these people.
That's
and
what
it
I'm
is very difficult because there's a deficit in, there's a shortage of paraprofessionals, there's a shortage of teachers' aides, and so we do need people to fill these slots. And so, yeah, and they need the
Especially
funding.
with the elementary, like you said, the elementary age.
Well, we used to have it where parents would be asked to volunteer their time.
Well,
and-
grandparents, because I'm one of those
Okay.
grandparents that used to volunteer.
Yes, good. See,
So, yeah, I
that
mean,
should be introduced again if it's
absolutely.
been taken away. But yeah, when you have no, you're barely scraping the surface of the problem, and you're not doing a deep dive to see what is the reason behind that behavior, then you're going to label the child incorrectly. They'll get punished instead of getting a diagnosis, which is the wrong way to address it.
And I just think about a lot of the single parents that can't continually just keep taking off of their jobs.
Right.
That's why I'm asking these
So
questions.
they need to ask for a diagnosis, for an observation to see if
Right.
that child needs special education services. There shouldn't be a stigma with special education. I know there has been, there still is. But it doesn't just mean you have a cognitive disability in order to receive special education services. And that rolls into our other National Bullying Prevention Month, and with J&J Autism Voices, a group that's through Mrs. Scott, and she's on right now. Does she call back in? We have another caller. Oh, the
Okay.
same caller. She's
No,
Mrs.
this is
Scott.
Miss Scott.
Well, hello, Mrs. Scott.
No, this is Miss Scott calling. This is your host calling.
Oh,
I'm calling because I need for you guys to talk about safe diversity. We have an event coming up on Saturday, and I need for you to mention all of our honorees for Saturday coming up. We have an event coming up.
All right. Well, Cynthia is on it.
Yeah.
Cynthia has a
but you only
flyer.
have 5 minutes. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. Well, we got our artist from Miss Scott. So let's talk about our next event coming up. Big event is our Zoom.
All right. Thank you guys, and y'all take care. And thank you.
All right.
Okay. Okay. Well, on November the 5th, Saturday, November the 5th, from 10 to 11:30, Safe Diversity, the Otis Scott Veteran Hero Awards, honoring some of our veterans and our first responders and our frontline workers. So it is going to be virtual. So if you want to be a part of that, you can also go to the website, and it'll be also on our social media page, where you can get the passcode and the meeting Zoom ID number.
All right.
And some of the people that we will be honoring will be, let me look at my paper here, Danica Crothers, she's mental emotional wellness specialist. Carvana Cloud, Deputy Director of Community Affairs Division. Mika Diamond, CEO of V-Zable Evidence and Mika Diamond Incorporated. Our very own Nate Griffin from Channel 26.
Woo-hoo!
Well, I see Attorney Filis has Go Astros on here. And we have quite a few others on here that we're going to be honoring. So those are just a few.
Thank you. And we also are going to have, can you check the back of that sheet? We're going to have a couple of guest speakers. Do you have them down there?
Oh, yeah. I see Dr. Danica Crothers, mental health. I just spoke of her. Right. Lisa Powell of TSU. What is that? TSU Bullers, Environmental Justice. And board member. Okay.
She is a Safe Diversity Communities board member.
Okay, all right.
And Miss Liza has been a repeat guest, not only on the show, but also at our community outreach events. So Safe Diversity Community every month.
All right.
We have community outreach events. Right now, they're by Zoom, usually hosted by me from Filis Law Firm on a Saturday.
All right.
Doing it. But we've also been visiting and meeting up at a park.
Oh, yeah, Proctor Plaza Park.
Okay.
Over off of, is it 803 or 804 Temple? It's on the north side, in the Heights.
Nice.
Yeah. But I know we only have a few minutes before we wrap up, and I know we will be in serious trouble if we don't mention the Spirit Day, the Olympic Spirit Day.
Okay.
I will, on behalf of Safe Diversity and Miss Thelma Scott, we want to thank everybody that came out and participated and made that a huge, huge success. It's one of the better ones that we've ever had. And everybody just seemed to have a good time. We had pizza for the kids. We had a lot of games. So with police officers out there, some of the sponsors actually came out and supported. So we were out there. We just had an amazing time. So on behalf of Safe Diversity and Ms. Scott, we want to thank everyone for their participation and their support in coming out. Actually, your law firm was there. I actually talked to a few of the members.
Yes. I had,
so we had a good time.
Marcy, and this was the introduction to Safe Diversity for Deborah and for Duffy. So we had those three out there. I had court. I could not go.
Yeah, they told me just that she had to go to court last minute, so she had a case.
Yeah, so that's okay. But I sent them, and they had a great time.
Well, they did an amazing job, and they had a good time. They had pizza, and everybody had a good time.
So there was one thing I was a little disappointed about.
What was that?
There was no hula hoop competition.
Oh, yes, there were.
Well, no, I was
but
told there was
we
not.
did hula hoop.
No, because Deborah was my ringer. She was gonna win.
Well,
She didn't know there was.
Yes,
oh,
ma'am. We
my
had
goodness.
hula hoop. Oh, that was one of the
Deborah,
highlights.
you are in
Yes.
trouble. I'm
Yes.
gonna be talking to you when I get back in the office. Because Deborah said, "Oh, I've got
We
that.
had
I can
hula
do that."
hoop.
Oh,
We had a dance contest. Oh my God, the
I saw
battle
the
of the
dancing,
bands.
yes.
It was amazing.
was it Milby
Yes.
that won? Who won?
I believe it was Waltrip.
Waltrip. Okay.
Yeah, Waltrip.
So that looked like everyone had a good time.
Oh, it was awesome. Madison, my old alma mater, was out there.
Okay.
They represented.
And I heard the kids won the tug of war.
Yes.
Okay.
We had a middle school out there too, also. I don't remember the name of the middle school, but we did have a middle school, a drum, with the drum majors,
Wow.
drumette, whatever they're called,
Okay.
but they were drummers.
Oh, well, thank you to the HISD superintendent for letting us do this.
Absolutely.
That was great. I'm so happy it was a success.
It was.
And we look forward to that every year, all year.
Absolutely.
And Chef Vidal and his team helped set up. So
did
thank
they?
you,
Okay.
Chef Vidal. And then Jackie Fortune and our very special Officer Collins.
Oh, definitely.
They were the
Officer
ones
Cup.
running it, so
Yes.
they did a great job.
They did an
Oh,
amazing
good.
job. Oh, and we also want to thank State Representative Ron Reynolds. He came out and he made a donation.
Oh.
Yeah, he made a big donation,
Very nice.
presented with a donation. And he, what else did he do? He took a lot of pictures and met a lot of the people that were around there, but he definitely came and he always supports.
Very nice. All right. Well, we there's a lot more we can chit chat about, but we are pretty much done for the day. And thank you going out to Mrs. Scott for being the wonderful you and for being the person who founded Safe Diversity Communities so that we can have all these events every year. We can help so many people. We can become more educated on very important topics. Thank you, Chris Noble, for coming in and talking to us about breast cancer awareness. Thank you, DJT.
Thank you, Tarek.
And then, of course,
Very
thank
welcome.
you. Oh, and Cynthia Allen.
Thank you for having me.
I'm super
enjoyed it.
happy. Thank you. All right, everyone. Enjoy the rest